we'll talk about k-means clustering. My name is Rounak Vyas and this video is a collaboration with Programming Knowledge. To watch more videos on machine learning and programming, do subscribe to the channel. In this machine learning playlist until now, we have only talked about supervised learning algorithms, where we knew what the output or the target variable was. In this video, we'll explore an unsupervised learning algorithm called k-means clustering. K-means clustering is one of the simplest and popular supervised algorithms, and there are plethora of real-world applications of k-means clustering which we will talk about in this video. And in the next video, we will see the implementation of k-means and how easy it is when compared to algorithms like SVMs and etc. Now, before we jump into the algorithm itself or even supervised learning, we must understand what clustering means. So, clustering is the process of dividing the entire data into groups or also known as clusters based on the patterns in the data. Let's try to understand that with a simple example. A bank wants to give credit card offers to its customers. Currently, they look at the details of each customer and based on this information, decide which offer should be given to which customer. Now, the bank can potentially have millions of customers, right? Does it make sense to look at all the details of each customer separately and then make a decision? Certainly not. It is a manual process and will take a huge amount of time. So, what can the bank do? One option is to segment its customers into different groups. For instance, the bank can group the customers based on their incomes. The groups that are shown here are known as clusters, and the process of creating these groups is known as clustering. Awesome. Now let's talk about unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning algorithm used to draw inferences from datasets consisting of input data without labeled responses. So to understand all of this, let's see how a supervised algorithm works first. We have a labeled dataset with the output or target variable. In this particular example, the task is to predict whether a loan will be approved or not. As we have all the data labeled with appropriate targets, we call it as supervised learning. In clustering, we do not have a target to predict. We look at the data and try to club similar observations and form different groups. Hence, it is an unsupervised learning algorithm. So let's see where this helps us in the real world. So starting with customer segmentation, as we discussed before about the bank making clusters based on the income for the credit cards. Next thing is document clustering. This is another common application. Let's say you have multiple documents and you need to cluster similar documents together. Clustering helps us group these documents such that similar documents are in the same clusters. The next is image segmentation. We can also use clustering to perform image segmentation. Here, we try to club similar pixels in the image together. We can apply clustering to create these clusters having similar pixels in the same group. The next is recommendation engines. Let's say you want to watch or you want to recommend songs to your friends. You can look at the songs liked by that person and then use clustering to find similar songs and then finally recommend those songs to the person. So let's talk about k-means clustering now. We have finally arrived at the main part of the video. Now, with regards to generating clusters, our aim here is to minimize the distance between the points within a cluster. There is an algorithm that tries to minimize the distance of the points in a cluster with their centroid. This is called the k-means clustering technique. The main objective of the k-means algorithm is to minimize the sum of distances between the points and their respective cluster centroid. Let's see how the algorithm works in action. So we have these 8 points we want to apply k-means on to create clusters. So let's see how we can do that. The first step in k-means is to pick the number of clusters k. Next, we randomly select the centroid for each cluster. Let's say we have 2 clusters, so the k is equal to 2 here. We then randomly select the centroid. Step 3. Once we have initialized the centroid, we assign each point to the closest cluster centroid. Here you can see that the points which are closer to the red point are assigned to the red cluster, whereas the points which are closer to the green point are assigned to the green cluster. Now, once we have assigned all of the points to either clusters, the next step is to compute the centroids of newly formed clusters. Here, the red and green crosses are the new centroids. Now, we repeat steps 3 and 4. So, essentially, there are three ways to stop k-means clustering. First is the centroid of newly formed clusters do not change. So, if the centroids don't change, that means we have reached the end, and that is the best way we can actually cluster our data. Second, the points remain in the same cluster. So if the points remain in the same cluster, that means that there is no further possible way or a possible way to improve our clustering algorithm. And the last is the maximum number of iterations that are reached. So the number of iterations is subjective, so it depends from person to person. So we can actually focus more on the first 2 points and not on the last point as much. So coming to the implementation, we have two choices. We can either use the Scikit-Learn library and import the k-means model and use it directly, or we can write our own model from scratch. So writing our own model from scratch using NumPy and Python is very easy for k-means, but to see how the algorithm works very fastly, in the next video we'll implement k-means using the Scikit-Learn library. Thank you.